Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the afternoon update. I'm Maggie Lake here with macro strategist Craig Shapiro. And Craig, looked like it was pretty quiet through midday. We're going to make a run around the markets, but things heating up here in the last few minutes.
Yeah, we had the ADP this morning, which came in largely in line. Then we had a reasonably strong ISM services PMI, came in better than expected. Markets liked it. We were kind of just grinding higher throughout the day, led by tech, not surprisingly, again. And then all of a sudden, President Trump decided to chime in a couple of interesting tweets over the course of the last hour or so. The first one on housing, basically saying he's looking to ban institutional ownership of new homes, which has interesting implications. Obviously, he's thinking about affordability and some of the weak polling data that he's been having and trying to address some of those issues there. And then the second one just came out a few minutes ago about defense companies looking to put a ban, or at least a temporary ban, on share buybacks and dividends and capping CEO compensation until these companies get up to speed on production and raising equipment and bringing in modernizing equipment and production. So two interesting populist tweets from the president, kind of out of left field. The market wasn't really expecting it. We were above 7,000 on minis, and we've retraced some. So, largely flat on the day now. Nasdaq's up 79 handles, and minis are about flat. But Russell's been underperforming, and we've seen some weakness in defense stocks and housing stocks, on back of that. So
Yeah.
interesting timing.
It is, and this is the quintessential tape bomb. Out of nowhere, it felt like the focus was really geopolitical, international, foreign affairs, everything with Venezuela, talk of Greenland. We're watching Iran, and then boom, right back to sort of domestic policies. You mentioned housing moving. Blackstone took a big dive on that. I think it fell over 9%, recouped some of that, but it still looked weak. Last I checked, you might have a live read on that, but it was down about 4%. Of course, Blackstone private equity big in the sort of diversifying into real estate, while some of their other capital projects were locked up. So who knows what this means? One of the things that's hard to tell is when you see these tweets, you don't really know what's going to happen from here, right? Like, it's a headline, but will it actually turn into something? Will it be policy, or will they just move on to the next thing? I'm sure investors are trying to figure that out as they try to trade this.
Yeah, look, I think the president believes that he's doing an incredible job for the country and for the economy and for society. And he is very concerned that his polling data continues to deteriorate. And so it seemed like when he was speaking to House Republicans earlier in the week, he was expressing that concern. Why aren't we looking better? Why aren't we doing better? And clearly, affordability is a big problem for the administration. And so they're trying to figure out different ways to address that. Housing comes to mind. He wants to bring down housing prices so that people can afford new homes, but he also is concerned about having housing prices come down too much, because that's where a big store of wealth is. And so I think an easy scapegoat there is to kind of blame the institutional community. And so he's going after that. And with respect to defense companies, I think he's showing CEOs who are making a lot of money and companies that are returning cash to shareholders and doing share buybacks and aren't investing in equipment, aren't investing in manufacturing capacity in America. That's antithetical to his agenda, right? He wants to bring back jobs. He wants to bring back manufacturing, and go from there. So I think he's trying to, on the margin, do some things to address that polling data. And these are two of the first headlines we'll see. I'm sure there'll be other ones. And he likes to throw things against the wall, see how they stick, see who calls the White House, complains or supports, and go from there. But these things will take time, right? I mean, as far as the
Yeah.
housing stuff is concerned, he even mentioned it will need to be codified, would need to be codified by Congress. And so, is this something that the Congress will take up this year? Who knows? But clearly, he's sensitive to these issues.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, nobody reads the room like that. I'm sure the tech executives are like, "Yeah, great, tag, you're it, right?" They've been in the sort of crosshairs for a long time. So to see defense and housing, and some of this is preemptive, right? Maybe the industry makes moves itself so that it doesn't have to be codified. I mean, I think that's the play on this. So that'll be very interesting. Fantastic timing for us as well, because we're speaking to Melody Wright tomorrow, right? Who's sort of a housing expert.
Yeah, perfect timing for that. I mean, I think the president is as savvy as anyone when it comes to electability, and so he knows that Wall Street's done incredibly well. He's tried to make the claim that it's Main Street's year. It hasn't been the case, and really policy hasn't been Main Street over Wall Street for quite some time, really since I don't know the run up into the election last year in 2024, and then maybe the first quarter of 2025. But since then, it's been mostly Wall Street over Main Street. So I think maybe the president's using some of the capital here with equity markets at the highs and volatility at the lows to maybe throw in some nuggets there for Main Street and say, look, I'm thinking about you too. Let's make sure we don't get crushed in the midterms. And I think he's out to address some of those concerns.
Yeah. And the midterms are a long way away. So we're probably just getting ramped up for this. And also, as we've been mentioning, we've got that potential ruling on tariffs. So I'm sure he's going to want to fill the airwaves with other news if that does not go his way. And presumably they're reading the tea leaves down there. So that'll be super interesting if we get some to see how that lead up plays out. You mentioned to me right before we came on air as well, crypto still weak. And we had Luke Grahman. If you missed it, hey, everybody in the chat, by the way. Yes, Trump shoots across the bow and warns industries they better get in shape. He is the king at verbal jawboning. If you are in the chat and you missed our segment with Luke Grahman this morning, re-rack and go back and watch that. But he talked about crypto, didn't he, Craig?
Yeah, and Luke had been a big advocate for Bitcoin and crypto, for quite some time, and kind of changed his tune towards the end of last year. And I think what he become concerned about is, the weakness in Bitcoin suggests maybe liquidity is not as ample as we believe. And so the precious metal story, the narrative there is part liquidity, but it's really part resource nationalism. We're seeing elevated geopolitical headlines hitting the tape. And Bitcoin typically would be in that story on a store of value basis, but it's not. And I think it's reflective of this lack of liquidity. And so its correlation to tech stocks, I think, is picked back up again. And so the fact that NASDAQ hasn't made new highs, in a few months is commensurate with Bitcoin's weakness too. And so I think he's saying that the weakness there is concerning and maybe necessitates more liquidity is going to come at some point, or is going to be needed at some point in order to address what he sees as, some slowdowns maybe in the global economy. So I thought that for sure was interesting.
Yeah, I love that he calls it the sort of last accurate fire alarm on liquidity. I thought that was something we really should keep in mind. And some chat stream side about anyone have a source of info on how much Bitcoin's in Venezuela. We talked about that this morning. I don't think anyone has an accurate count. I think people are trying to chase that down. But there's, as with all these markets, a lot of cross currents, right? So if Luke's right about the liquidity fire warning, you may also get some pressure for the fact that people are concerned that maybe there's a different kind of whale, not one whale, but sort of if there's any liquidation on the back of Venezuela, that could be some more pressure. You mentioned metals, Craig. They're getting hit again today, aren't they? It's just like some profit taking because this is such a crowded trade.
Seems like it. Really not much in the way of news today, specifically on that front. And obviously, the services ISM numbers not particularly metal sensitive, but metals started the day weak and kind of accelerated that move, weaker, through the day here. And so, but it's been largely a one-way up trade there, but we've gotten to pretty elevated levels and technical exhaustion and some RSI overbought. So look, we also have some big data coming the rest of the week, and particularly on Friday with payrolls and the potential for the Supreme Court ruling. So maybe just some position squaring and taking down of risk into that event. I am still surprised how low, broadly speaking, volatility is into Friday. It seems like, with NFP and this potential for the Supreme Court ruling that things could go in a bunch of different directions here. Now, maybe you'd say it's largely priced in what the Supreme Court might do, but I don't know. Just with volatility as compressed as it is, I think the potential for an outside move is there.
Yeah, it is interesting, given all the potential, and now add on to that some, Washington headline risk. Let's just end with bonds really quickly. The 10-year yield has been so anchored in a pretty tight range around that 4.1%. Does it feel like we're getting ready for a breakout? Could that breakout be lower?
I think that it's going to really depend on the economy, right? It's really going to depend on these labor reports. I think, look, if we got a very outsized move and really in either direction on the NFP on Friday, I think that could be a chance for bonds to break one way or the other. I think if we saw a particularly negative print, I think bonds would really start to rally on back of that, and some of the concern about the pace of economic momentum in the U.S. economy is struggling. But then on the flip side, if we get an adverse ruling on tariffs later that morning, and we put $100 billion hole in the deficit, that could pressure the long end. So I think people largely believe that the Supreme Court ruling will come out will be adverse for the administration, but indicative of the fact they're probably not going to refund everybody's money quickly. They're going to look for ways to fill in the revenues with other sources of tariffs. So maybe it's a non-event, but again, I think we're basically pricing in a non-event. And so if it winds up being something that's more material, I think we can have an outsized move.
Yeah. I mean, you can imagine, Trump's probably exercising those fingers right now because we're going to be looking for to sort of read through the announcement, but you're going to have truth social up at the same time because he's going to be responding in real time when that comes out, and we're going to have to make sense of it all. Great stuff, Craig. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll see what the day brings. Right now, though, it is time to trade the close with Nick and Jack. Good luck, everybody.
What's up, guys? Everybody? Chat? Jack?
Hey, Nick.
Oh, how are we all doing, everybody?
I'm doing good. I am in a couple positions here, but not sure if we're going to get much going into the close. So my targets are pretty tight here. I had some nice trades earlier in gold and even the Russell, and I've re-entered the Russell here and Dow for the first time today. Hoping we can just kind of cruise back up into the close. I'm so bullish these indexes. Got some selling off the open in the YM or the Dow, and we're right back at the midpoint of the prior day, which is 49,431. So I've taken a stab right around that area. I got about a stop of 80 points, which is the ATR in the 15-minute chart right now. Then I'm using in the NASDAQ. I'm in from right around here, but I could definitely see us just going back and forth, maybe retesting just that most recent low. I don't want to see us take out that 1125 low, but got a few things on. I'm just waiting around, letting the market do its thing. What are you looking at? What do you got going on?
I'm debating on continuing to try to get long here. I am kind of looking at this 900 to 910 spot. I'm currently long one. I was trying to see if I can get an ad for a second. But yeah, I haven't really done a whole lot today. I've kept it pretty light. I'm slightly red on the day, like small, but I don't know. Just not my cup of tea. That consolidation we were kind of doing for a long time on NQ, where we were just bouncing around between like 870s to like 810s. It's just like there was a lot of indecision, and I decided to walk away from the desk.
Yeah, last I was on, I hadn't taken a trade here in the NQ, but my upside target that I was looking at was 25,980 area. And, we basically got up there during lunch, faded down from it. And then there was a reoffer, as you referred to, right at that level coming out of lunch just before 2 o'clock. And I definitely am going to be paying attention to that tomorrow, whether or not definitely don't think we're getting above it here today. It's really important for me to hold this 69.80 level here in the ES. We're right about at what I would anticipate to be support 69.84, 69.85 for the ES. So if we lose 69.84, 69.85 in the ES, I'm not going to want to be in any of the indexes, but I'm floating Russell, I'm floating MNQs, and I am in the Dow as well, just hoping that they can creep back higher, back to the mid of this range that we've had to the downside. But I definitely still think momentum's to the upside here. You said you're long one, and it's just a matter how much are they going to give us going into the close. I do think we'll get an upside move, but how far? I got a target about 50 points. It just brings me back up to 25,960s.
Yeah, we just came down and dipped there, but didn't actually fill my second guy. So I'm actually just gonna not bother, and I'm just gonna hold this as a single.
Yeah.
See what happens here.
Don't think you need to pile in down here, that's for sure.
No. Another situation where if I wasn't here to give everybody some entertainment this afternoon, I probably would not be trying to trade this currently. You come back tomorrow.
I feel you. I think that's just the theme for the afternoon session. We know this. It's low volatility. The business is done in the morning, unless we got, maybe the day before non-farm comes out tomorrow's afternoon session, maybe a little more action than normal. But when we get on here, we know what we're expecting. We're expecting not a whole bunch, but you just got to be paying attention to how big the ranges are and keeping your targets inside of that. If you're looking for something crazy to happen, you're probably not going to get it.
Exactly. So yeah, and you and I will be back, trading tomorrow morning.
Yeah, no, tomorrow morning. I think tomorrow morning will be a good session. I really like the way that the structure's set up. We have been, we've been trending higher, and we've looked at the moves and everything from the Dow, the Russell, the Nasdaq over the last few days. We've had great big morning sessions in at least one of the markets. I know the indexes were choppy to up. It wasn't, exploding higher, but still, I thought it was a fairly clean trade. I was able to capture some of the ES. In that move, but yeah, the Dow and the Russell really moved higher on Monday and Tuesday, and they got their pullbacks here today in the first part of the opening session, and I kind of expect them to pick back up and really rally out of non-farm payroll if the overall reaction is positive. I think those markets are gonna get that boost as there's some rotation at the beginning of the year. It seems to be. But yeah, that's really all. I did take a trade in copper for a bit. Got it going a little bit my way and then just stopped out at break even earlier. Yeah, metal's a little weaker here today, but still think that general trend is up. And I'm going to be looking
Yeah, gold, another day where we had some movement, I guess, in the overnight, kind of up from whatever that 45 tens area. Sold off pre-market, and then basically gold not really doing much since.
Yeah, my trade this morning in gold was the mid of the week, and that's from that Sunday night open. Sunday night we had a gap up, and we've continued from that point in the middle of from that Sunday night low at whatever it was like 6 o'clock when we opened 44.33 half, and the low of the day here is 44. Like what is that low? It's 44. 44.30. I'm trying to grab the right bar. 44.32.9. So within 5 ticks. Definitely seems like that should be when we really are trending in a market, I always really pay attention to those bid points because that's where they should bid from if we're in a trending market. It's kind of coming halfway back long for the week, and it's like, hey, we should hold this. We should hold that. And then we had those Nvidia headlines this morning, which I think shook some traders out before they moved higher. I don't know what they were.
I gotta say this again. I don't know how many times, and somebody in the chat maybe could tell me, but how many times are we going to have a reaction towards the China H200 chips news? Several different times it's been we're giving them chips, we're not giving them chips. China doesn't want the chips, China does want the chips, and like every single time we have some stupid reaction that eventually just gets undone. But the initial algo response is just to spaz for like the 18th time when that's come out.
Yeah, there was a couple traders in my room that they said there was some pretty big slippage on on that move.
Yeah, see the chat knows. It's just another situation where we're just gonna someone knows that news is coming out and they're gonna place a trade. And yeah, we're all gonna be left holding the bag if you were trying to initiate long at that point. Just a casual 120-point liquidation in seconds.
Yeah, I haven't seen one of those in a while.
Yeah, it is true. The algos do not have memory.
Sometimes I wish I had no memory. You ever feel that way? I'm just kidding. It'd be nice. Imagine operating with no memory. You're just robotic.
You'd probably be a very good trader.
Very good trader, but I don't know if you'd be good at anything else. Probably wouldn't be good at making friends. Probably wouldn't be a good husband. Probably wouldn't be a good father. Probably wouldn't be a good friend.
Yeah. These are all fair points.
But yeah, so I'll give up. I'll take the being an okay trader if it means I get to keep my memory. If I got to wipe my memory to be a great trader, then I'm gonna pass. Okay.
Chat, everybody, how is everyone handling today? Feels like there's been some opportunities for a couple good trades, but then a lot of lulls in today's session. Everybody okay? Everybody have fun today?
Yeah, so the question on my gold trade, like I said, that was the midpoint of the week. And it was a level that I had predetermined as potential support. I have an overall bias of wanting to trade gold from the long side. So, gold's been one of the things I measure, and I just keep out of the corner of my eyes. I have a watch list of about 20 different futures contracts, and I measure the percentage return on a 5 and 20-day basis. You can look at your charts, but over the last 20 days, gold's up about 5%. Over the last 5 days, it's about up 2%, and that's with it being down off of its highs. So my thesis there is like, okay, I'm just looking at a percentage change. Like, this thing's been up over the last 20 days. It's up over the last 5 days. There's going to be buyers on potential supports. I also like the setup as far as it was a liquidity sweep of the overnight pre-open low just by a few ticks. And then as we got down there, I went and put my neck out on it. It was a ATR expansion down at 1010. The bar was about 16 points. And then that next bar, we just stuck right into that level, went nowhere past it, and then immediately reversed back to the upside in the following 15 minutes. It was one of those trades that was pretty easy to kind of be right away or right out. And in that situation, that's what needed to happen. It was either going to trade immediately the opposing direction after taking out lows and seeing no more liquidity below that, trader's trap, new shorts enter, old longs exit, whatever the scenario is, and then an immediate response back to the upside. So that was my theory on that trade this morning in gold, which if you guys were in the morning, what was the trade to close? It was like, I was taking that trade, I think, on screen, if I remember correctly. I actually don't remember what time I got on. Maybe it's right after, but I think I took that right after. But yeah, and then in gold at 11:20, if you guys remember, I was there was some highs that needed to get taken out, and at 11:20, those highs were taken out. The average true range expanded. We had a 14-point move, which was larger than the previous consolidation period. And then I set my timer for 25 minutes. As soon as that 25 minutes was up, I tightened my stop up really, really tight because the bars stopped expanding. We were overlapping. We were at the midpoint of the prior day, and just trailed out, I think about 4 points from that high. So that was how I managed the trade. There was why I entered the trade, and then there was how I managed the trade. Those are separate thought processes.
Oh, I lost the chat. Where'd everybody go?
Getting a little pump here in the Russell. Just been my girl today.
Meanwhile, NQES doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, so with my copper trade, for those of you guys, seems like most of you guys had questions about my trades earlier this morning, but my copper trade, gold was breaking out, silver was breaking out right around the 11:20 time frame. We had barely taken out the low of the day. I thought we were a little extended. Once again, my higher time bias is up in copper, and so as soon as I saw some pausing, which began around the 10:55 to 11:15, 11:20 time frame. Once again, that's a 25-minute pause. I look for the market to do things in a 25-minute cycle. For example, right now in the Dow, I am already long, but we've basically been sideways now for 25 minutes. And if that continues, I should just be able to move my stop below this low of the day. And you're able to calculate your risk. I think between right now we're 49,414. That low is 49,374. So that's your risk after a time consolidation. And then I'm hoping for us to just pop this most recent swing high here into the close. We got an hour left, and there's definitely enough time for us to do that. And more extended target would be up towards the high of the middle of the day's range near 49,580. But anytime I see a pause of price action, even if you look at and bring my Russell entry into the screen, at least this last one, But like you can see as we came down to this area, we go sideways 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 4 bar, 5. We're just staying in the same zone. When when you're buying or using limit orders and we're coming down, you don't really know what that next bar looks like. But once you start getting some sideways movement, you can at least assume that we're holding that area, as opposed to if you just buy while we're still selling, or short while we're still rising, it can keep going. So I like to see time kind of exhaust, and that helps me make a decision. But even the highs here on the Russell, we went sideways for 25 minutes and then we broke down, and we go sideways for 25 minutes, then we go up. And I'm hoping the same thing happens in the Dow, but we'll see.
Hoping the same thing happens in NQ.
I am too. I am too.
So anything else? I'm not even looking for much. Just
Yeah, no, I am. I'm gonna light.
hold this.
I'll tell you what though, I'm just gonna take a shorter target here in the Nasdaq. I personally don't like my position in the NQ, but down to 28s.
At least we finally hit 7,000. Did everyone get their does everyone have their SPY 700 hats ready?
Yeah, for copper, my next trade is going to be after we trade down below 583s. I want to see a move below Monday's open and then a recapture of it. We could still turn around from here, but it does seem to be making lower lows and lower highs. So it either would need to take above a swing high, which for me right now would be back above the 140 high, before I'd want to re-engage. I personally would not be looking to initiate another new long here in copper. It's also with the time, copper really gets slow in the last hour. For the most part, it's not a very active market in the afternoon. It's active starting sometimes in the European session, but at this time of day, I'm not interested in it. I think it could bleed lower.
I mean, what else is going on? What else is moving? Nothing.
Biggest mover on the day, as per usual, nat gas.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, look at that.
Upside, at least. Yeah, that thing's up 5%.
And silver still doing silver things, but
yeah, it is. VIX is up on the day, which is interesting with these indexes up. I think people are positioning themselves for non-farm payroll, buying some protection.
probably,
Usually,
yeah.
Yeah, usually don't see that, VIX being up with the indexes being up. Yeah. Oil moved a bunch here today. Oil just breakout channel failure back to the bottom of the range.
Yes, Mark, that is correct. I am on screen, so naturally the market's going to just go sideways.
Yeah. Yeah, the nice thing about copper is some of these other futures contracts, they get a little, remembering all the tick values and the volatility, because you always want to know what your risk is. But copper is basically trades kind of like the ES does. So if you're familiar with the ES and the way that trades, copper is basically the same with a little more volatility. You have a 3% move here today. Picture a 3% move in the ES, but same tick value.
Trying to change the vibe. Put a hat on.
Yeah, I need a haircut. Starting to get shaggy. Everybody, Sitka, baby. You big hunter?
I am. Not
Nice.
recently, thanks to having a baby, but like I haven't been out there in like a season and a half.
Waterfall guy? You got
What?
them Texas ranches down there.
That was weird. Yeah, definitely we'll do some waterfowl, deer. And just haven't been able to get out there for deer season the last 2 years because we had our baby in November last year.
You bow?
No. So I have aggressive shoulder issues, I guess I could say, with four shoulder repairs. So I've learned just from pulling my buddies, different weighted compound bows. It's not good for your rotator cuff, your labrum, things that I've had repaired. So I've just made peace with it. Unless I'm going to use a kid's bow and hope for the best that the velocity is going to be good enough. Probably isn't. I just am not going to ever do the archery style.
Hey man, got to know your limits. You will definitely bust your shoulder. That's a good reason to not partake.
I mean, I've tried to pull them, and I'm like, the strength and the ligaments are just not there, no matter how much I've rehabbed.
We're going to talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Mambo Cowboy, come on. We're moving sideways. We can talk about Nick getting stopped out trying to get long in NQ, because that's probably about to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, we fill the dead air with usually hobbies, recreation, cooking, family stuff, all of the above.
Just took off my Russell here, top of the range, just, area we broke down of. Once again, I don't have high expectations for the end of the day, so I don't want to be greedy with my targets. We came right back up, checked where we had rotated down from at the 1250, rotate down there, and then just take the bottom of that range, just simple range trading, just being aware of what the market's giving me and taking it. So not on. You got to play it for long. I was just getting into
it. Do I have a YouTube channel? No, I do not. And I don't plan to be honest. So if you want to see me, learn from me, ask me questions, you can do it right here on NT Live. And it's purely out of, I'm way too lazy to do that stuff. I thought about it for a long time before I started streaming in general on YouTube with obviously other firms, but I just never went down that route.
Very time consuming.
It is. And it's a young man's game. It really is. After meeting, like, for example, like meeting T-Trades and some other people, I just don't have the, I guess the mental bandwidth to do what some of those guys do as far as just content.
Yeah. Yeah. It's more than just making the content. You got to be a great editor.
Mm-hmm.
You got to pay attention to the thumbnails. Being a great trader and a content creator that grabs views are two completely different skill sets, unfortunately.
Yeah, just ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, that's probably part of the reason why it is sometimes hard to find great content. NinjaTrader gives us an opportunity to really get in front of a great audience because they have such a large team behind it. But we got our guys that you guys don't see that we get on and we talk to, and they handle so many important things, from the thumbnail creation to the title creation to the distribution to the production of it. It's a whole bunch of people behind the scenes that allows this YouTube, and we're able to come on where we get to do our job, which is show you guys, talk through our trades, but doing their job and doing our job at the same time would be very difficult. We need each other.
Do I think it would help the market move to put on an XYZ mask while I'm on air? I mean, I'm sure it wouldn't hurt. Anything to pump some life into this thing.
My ass is clenched, I'm telling you guys.
I'm sure it is. He is somewhere. Probably. Oh, no, XY is not trading this right now. Am I able to show how you read the tape from my screen? I mean, yeah, if there was something to actively read currently outside of seeing sellers like just start to kind of get absorbed down here, there's not a whole lot to read currently.
I do. I mean, I don't really make too much content. I just kind of stream. I used to make more content than I do now because it's a lot to get views, to be honest. My stuff's extremely boring. I think what I explain in trading is sometimes so high level that you really to capture a lot of eyes, you have to explain things in such a basic form, which I don't. I'm not going to explain what a candlestick is. So,
Yeah,
uh,
that's fair.
yeah, that's really it. I mean, you really gotta. You almost. I'm also not a script writer. There'd be a script writer these days to get big on YouTube, or just be doing podcasts and have a clipper all the time. How long have I been trading? I bought my first stock when I was 15, which is 21 years ago. So opened up my first trading account when I was 18 years old, and that was in 2008. But I can't say I was very good.
What is the concept of the red and blue? That'd be negative delta versus positive delta. I think that's what you're referring to. If you're referring to my candles, similar thing. Like these are more an extreme of negative delta or positive delta when they are repainted red and blue. And when they're gray, it more so is showing that the delta is more neutral on both sides of the tape.
Yeah, I do have a negative risk reward on my MenthorQ trade. When I entered it, it was just a bracket, and I haven't moved my stop, and I've moved my target down relative to the volatility. But let's see here. Yeah, I've just the reason I have a negative MR is or risk reward is because we're stalling. So I'm just going to take a quicker profit than what I would used to take. So if we can pop up, I just unfortunately sometimes if I don't like my position, like I've been sitting in this position longer than I'd like to be, I'm not gonna have a target at the moon.
Mm-hmm. What's up, Norseman? Good afternoon. Good morning. All right, everybody, please just go out there and buy or sell several contracts so that this can actually move. Finally, leave this range. I'd appreciate it. Nick, what differences do you notice in trading NQ versus ES? I mean, first of all, just the speed at which things move. Um, ES tends to respect, I would just say like support and resistance more like closer to the tick, I would say, than NQ does. So as far as like interacting around MGI, market generated information type levels, ES tends to kind of hit them and react. NQ could miss them, slip them by 10, 15, 20 points at times. So your stop placement needs to be a little more strategic, or you have to have the
Order filled.
the logic of knowing that I could get stopped out of
Order
NQ
canceled.
even at a level
Order
that
canceled.
makes sense and have to potentially re-enter. I mean, when I started, I traded only ES and slowly caught the NQ bug, but I still trade both. Just kind of depends on the session, um, what's going on, how I'm feeling. But yeah, they just move a little different. ES looking bearish. Yeah, it's kind of looked a little weaker all day. Kind of did a head and shoulders thing. I can't believe I still haven't been stopped out of this.
Here.
But while we're waiting for something to happen, even though nothing ever happens outside of me potentially getting stopped out here, please do us the favor of smashing that thumbs up button, hitting like, and making sure you are subscribed to the stream, as well as send a few text messages, emails, Twitter DMs to all your friends to make sure they are also subscribed. As we had talked about this morning, our quest to eventually make it to 200,000 subscribers and all the fun things we will probably do when that day happens at some point in 2026. That was well timed.
Wow. Great noise. That's the New Year's kazoo.
Nobody works harder than production behind the scenes. I'm just keeping us on our toes. Throwing random sound bites in there. You just never know what they're going to do. And I'm stopped out.
I turn my speakers up to 11 before I get on just so I can feel something.
Well, since I got stopped out, we're going to change the vibe and go to a different hat.
Oh, we got the Buckies on.
Yes, the signal has in fact fired. Nick has been stopped out. So you all know what to do. In fact, I may still get back in. So we shall see.
At this point, I'd like to short a pop. We can get it.
We just couldn't get up like off the ground there, like above like 915. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna take another trade today. It's just been a.
Only got an hour left, something crazy could happen.
We'll see what happens.
If we get up to 943, I'll short.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind shorting this a little higher, but
Gotta get higher first. That's the problem.
I don't really want to short it here just yet. Yeah, coming into the overnight VWAP, IB high, it's like, do I really want to short it in the hole right here? Probably not.
Apparently, there was the largest block trade ever put on in bonds today.
The what? Block? You said the largest block trade?
200,000 contracts.
Ooh, now we're getting some movement.
Here it is.
You're welcome, guys. I got stopped out so that we could move.
Very kind. Question is there going to be any follow through here?
Yes, it was in fact the Bucky's hat. ES made a new low on the session.
That was what I was worried about. If we busted at 79 as soon as we hit it, I got nothing until 69s in the ES.
Yeah.
That's where we're going.
I mean, was that it? We made a new all-time high in ES, hit 7,000. Everyone, celebrates like Lieutenant Dan on New Year's Eve, and now we're just gonna correct. Was that it? Is the high end for 2026? Probably not. Short from 69.80. Good luck to you, sir. Yes, that was in fact a generational high. Now we go on our never-ending quest for the 1929 lows, to quote Farm.
You'll never see me again. And I'm gonna cry for you.
Ooh. Spicy.
How long does it take to go to zero?
I mean, those untested 1929 lows.
Untested 1920. There's a gap down there.
There is.
We're gonna gap fill.
I was dying laughing when I was doing the Sunday Open with Farm, and Farm had just dropped that as we were talking, like prepping for the week, and I think we were talking about ES, but he just like casually threw that out there, and just it caught me so off guard.
Just gap fill in 1929. Using my cursor.
Order submitted.
Let's see, ES down to yeah, 69.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
Well, if we pop, I'll try to short for one more move down into the close.
It's like I could see longing this too, but I also don't want to. ES looks like garbage.
I'm actually tempted to short ZB. At the top of this daily range. There's that, that's what I said earlier. The VIX was on highs and the indexes are still up.
Mm-hmm.
Sooner or later, one of them comes back to earth. Sweepy. See if we can pop up here. Could offer 81.75 in the yes and 25.895 in the NQ. Just looking for one more continuation lower. Back to the scene of the crime.
Later, man, dude. Have a good evening.
And dude, Traderson. What a name. You ever seen like the Peloton skits where like they're doing the Peloton and then like they get them with the fake name?
No.
Like you know what kids go to the like on the pranks. You go to like Walmart and you're like, you call my girlfriend to the front. Her name
Oh,
is
yeah, yeah.
CC Pants.
Oh, yeah. I did see like a compilation of like a bunch of the instructors like having to break character because they read it and then caught themselves.
That stuff will always be funny to me. I mean, some prank videos these days are really mean, man. Some of the stuff some kids do to people they don't know is pretty ridiculous. My brain's a little too fully developed to pull some of that stuff off. But the harmless name, I think, is a good one.
Mm-hmm. I trade any trades today? Yeah, I'm red. I just got stopped out. So casual red day for me. Israel trades. Good to see you. Fiber optic. Did you ever cook the brisket? I feel like I never heard if you did. I know you said you had a friend that had a smoker. Oh, you guys were going to do it, but I can't remember if you had done it yet. Are we going? CS just going to go back to its like permanent home. That seems like uh the 6950s. We've just put in a ton of volume. Oh, yeah, obviously do it when everybody's feeling good. But yeah, please do let me know. I'm curious to see how it went. I have two gigantic briskets in my deep freezer that I need to figure out a good day to have a lot of people over.
How many pounds you working with?
I have one that's 18 from my cow that did a half steer. And Leo sent me one for Christmas. So I got to do that one as well.
Is Leo in Texas?
He's in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. 18. Wait, did I hear that right? That's 18 pounds.
Yeah, 18. And the one Leo sent me is like 22. It's not trimmed yet, but it's like 22 pounds. It's a big cow.
It's a big cow.
I mean, I usually would buy like 16 to 18 untrimmed when I used to get them at like Costco. And you trim them and they probably get down to like 15.
Man, not gonna bounce high enough for me to short again. Or to short, I guess would be the first time. Maybe go lower first. Which puts me in a different scenario.
I'm in Magnolia, Texas. When is dinner? Well, so here's the thing. I have two, and I kind of want to do one with an offset grill. So I'm maybe waiting until I buy one and then do some kind of test smoke on it to get confident. But yeah, soon enough. Check out Cadillac Barbecue.
Order canceled.
Okay, I'll make note of that one.
Order
Both of you
submitted.
don't watch VWAP? Yeah, it's on all my charts. The overnight
Order
high
canceled.
is and my anchored VWAPs is what I usually watch. But someone asked me a question. Did I go to school in Texas? No,
Order submitted.
I'm a Southern California kid.
Order
I feel like I've
submitted.
said that before. And I went to school at the Harvard of the West, the University of Arizona in Tucson.
Oh. You're SoCal.
Also known as the Harvard of the West. I don't know why that was so shocking that we had to gasp. We're still selling here. New
I'm
lows in
flipping.
ES.
I'm flipping. I'm buying lows if we get a little lower.
The 69s.
I've had that level I was watching for.
Yeah, NQ could puke to previous day high. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't object to the overnight high, previous day high sitting there at the 840s, 850s. See what happens.
We'll see. We have traded my level and I don't think it's not gonna fill. Oh no, I'm at 69s. I need to be at 69.25.
Although ES just put in the L period, M period stat.
Give me the stat. Give me the stat.
Well, 69% of the time, true, it is actually that. When we hit a new low or a low of the day or high of the day in L period, we make another low of the day or high of the day in M period. So almost 70% of the time.
That's a good stat. Made me feel good about this long.
Doesn't mean that we close on the high or set low, but it just means, and we've had days during trade the close where like we do the L period thing, and then within the first minute or two of M period, like we check the box, and then we might reverse.
Yeah.
There are just a ton of people selling ES. Well, yes, we hit the generational top that is the 7,000 mark. And we had to front run everybody placing their orders for SPY 700 hats.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
We do have the weak VWAP a little bit lower in ES.
Yeah, no hold here for me means 140 points down tomorrow, damn near close to the open. So we'll have an interesting. If we don't have an interesting close, we'll have an interesting.
Nick, L period, that's TPO speak. Yes, that technically is what this last 30-minute period would be called if you're a TPO enjoyer. I am not, but I mean, I think the only ones I know would be A period, B period, and then L period and M period. All the others, I mean, obviously it keeps going in a row, but those are the only ones I ever really pay attention to. I guess that's because that's usually the only times I really trade. Like the old adage, when B period is inside A period, when B is inside A, you should F off for the day.
Good one.
What are the best trading hours? I'm new. Whatever works the best in your schedule, honestly. I never feel like people should try to force trades because because it's the open. Like I know plenty of traders that trade the overnight more effectively or trade the London session. I've got a lot of buddies in the UK and other European countries that they'll trade the London session and then stick around for the New York Open, and that's their day.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
Yes, ES did in fact just achieve the M period stat, so we can reverse it any time, and it already has hit that. But sorry, to continue on the question on like when's the best time to trade. For example, I really focus probably 90% of my trading on the RTH open at 8:30 Central Time to the Euro close. So basically that 2-hour window, so 10:30 Central Time is when technically the London close would be. That's when I would try to find any and all of my trades. And obviously I do a little bit here in the afternoons when I'm doing trade the close, but historically I'm a pretty bad power hour trader, so I don't typically trade a whole lot during this time. But that's it. That's 3 hours of RTH that I try to find trades. If it's outside of that window, I really am not trying to put a ton of risk on.
Yeah. Also, different time periods are going to have different personalities. I think the open
styles too.
Yeah. Asian session is going to be less volatile. London has a really good chance of putting in a higher low that continues for some time. Index open is, the highest volatility, I believe, time of the day.
Well, let's see if we can hold this little spot on NQ and ES. I mean, it'd be also very on brand for us just ES already did it, but NQ just to kind of unwind the shenanigans of the session as it is. But ES potentially going back to its home in the 6950s should shock nobody. I don't have a 1-hour ES chart ready to go, but I mean, it probably is similar to the 700s, maybe ish. I don't know. I'd have to guess, but that just an area that we put a ton of volume in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I am not stretching here. I'm moving my targets down as this market has continued to push lower.
Did you learn today? Just take it slow. It would be my biggest advice if you're kind of still getting experience or you're just starting out in this journey. Take it slow. Practice on the sim. Eventually move to micros. Just get confidence that you kind of feel like you somewhat know what you're doing, and then prepared for a lot of kicks in the teeth once you do start trading, you know, real money or putting any sort of real risk on the table. Just it's part of the learning curve, I guess. I don't know anybody that doesn't have a story when they were starting out that they had a great week, a great day, and then they eventually a week or so later gave it all back. Like I think everybody has that. This is getting ugly. But they're stacking the bid a little bit on yes.
Stop filled.
Did you learn today? Yeah. Keep hanging out with us. There's a lot of great traders here that will always answer your questions, give you perspective, and you can just kind of see we all trade different styles in different ways too. I'm not telling you to jump around to different styles or perspectives of the way we trade, but you just get to hear different versions of articulating what is actually happening on the tape in real time from different traders. So good place for you to continue to hang out and learn and listen. We appreciate you being here too. Is this news related? No, nothing I saw. Just some orderly selling second half of the day, albeit looks a little violent in ES.
Order filled.
And I'm out of everything. Yeah, biggest move all day, really. I mean, considering earlier that move right there, though, was 86, I mean, basically top of that leg down, 87s down to 61s. First time we actually saw something quick today without much of a pullback or a two-sided move.
Are you all using level 2 or time and sales? Yes. That's a level 2, you know, having full depth as well as looking at time and sales is a big part of how I trade. Doesn't mean you need to. I know a lot of traders who don't look at anything to do with the order book or the DOM or time and sales and are very successful. So it just helps me kind of have a good understanding and visualize what's actually happening in the auction. You guys are welcome. Yes, I did in fact change hats and this liquidation started. So the Bucky's hat for the win. If you are out there in somewhere in the South, especially in Texas and parts of the Midwest and I guess the southeastern part of the United States, please do your part of supporting your local Bucky's.
Yeah, I think it was the hat. So if you take it off, we'll probably let me know.
We'll go back to being range bound.
I'll keep an eye on it.
What hat makes the market pump? That's a good question. I mean, I wasn't wearing a hat to start today and we just kind of ripped. Probably the Bass Pro hat. Yeah, that's probably fair. It's probably when XY and I are both wearing outdoor sporting goods hats. So usually he will rock a Bass Pros hat. I will throw on my Shields hat. How can I place a vertical volume on chart like your chart is, like red and blue? I'm not able to. Okay. If you're referring to the Delta profile, you can set up, you need the order flow edition of NinjaTrader. You can set it up. Somebody was explaining in the chat how to do it. Mine is custom built because it resets based on rotations of NQ and ES, but you can have it visualize the delta instead of just the usual volume by price. So there's a way to do it. Off the top of my head, I don't have the answer because mine's custom built. But you can do it with the order flow, volume profile indicator in NinjaTrader. So if someone actually knows the quick way to do that, feel free to throw it in the chat. I mean, if NQ is to bounce, this would be the spot. Last week's value area high, this week's value area high kind of sitting right here. The last 2 weeks, value area high is right here. So let's see if we can hold it. If not, we probably are going to rotate down towards the eventual rotation back towards the 700s. Not saying now or into the close, but
Order filled. Order submitted. Order filled.
All right, I'm back. One more shot here.
Order submitted.
I'm going to try long, but I don't know if it's going to work.
It's gonna be both. It's all because I didn't get that short position I wanted, and I just overtraded it alongside. I'd love to get short 25,882s, but I don't know if we got the cojones to get up there.
I don't think this is going to work.
I love the confidence.
Well, like the buyers that I was kind of watching step in there, I feel like they like stopped.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're getting close to algo and shenanigans, but
Yeah, we got 15 minutes left here coming up.
maybe we can rotate back towards those like 860s, 865. I'd be very happy.
Again, if we can pop like, yeah, 76 to 76, 69, 76 is ideally as high as I think we would go here. 82, 76.
Order submitted.
Pull back for a long tomorrow. It's very possible, Chris. Wouldn't shock me if everybody feels like, okay, now I bought the dip, but I can make the run for the SPX eventual run to probably 7,000. Because why not? $26K tomorrow. Nothing shocks me anymore. But you know, as we did talk about, maybe that was the generational high, and we're gonna go revisit those 1929 lows.
It'd be something, man. I think the world would cease to function the day we.
Yeah, I think it would cease to function well before we got there.
That's also true.
I mean, there'd be crying in the casino if we got a 20% pullback, like we, 25 to 30, like we kind of did in April, quickly like that again. I mean, there'd be crying in the casino again, despite the fact that we went 50% basically straight up.
We have a higher chance of experiencing hyperinflation and the market doubling in a year than it's going to zero, in my opinion.
Yep.
Like everyone's like, oh, Venezuela's market's up like 100% this year. It's like, yeah, their inflation is also up that much. That's why. Like Venezuela consistently has like a top performing market in priced in their dollars. But if you price it in US dollars, it's a little different because of the inflationary rate. And I tell you what, though, that Russell's coming back and holding that low again. That might be my go-to tomorrow for longs as these indexes. If we hold that low again, then I'm going to be thinking that we're in a position for the next leg up. That hasn't even come anywhere near these other indexes sell-offs.
Josh, you only price it in Fartcoin. Well, that's pretty smart. Fartcoin is in fact inflation proof. It's a store of value.
Store of value. Yeah. My dad asked me what he should do with his IRA, and I told him Fartcoin. And let's just say I didn't go home for Christmas this year.
I mean, that was when crypto was doing that type of crypto things. And then, all the memes where it's like me on the way to my 9 to 5 making $150,000 a year while some 17-year-old just made $2 million trading Fartcoin. And it's like the guy putting on clown makeup.
Wasn't there one called Cum Rocket?
I don't know. There's a lot.
You don't trade? You don't trade crypto, bro?
No, the basket of shitcoins has never been a hobby of mine.
Yeah, I can't keep up with them. When that Hawk Tua coin came out, one of my friends like, dude, I really think this is it. I'm like, well, I can't tell you how to buy it, so you're gonna have to be on this bet on your own, my guy. People assume just because you trade that you like trade all of these ridiculous things. I'm like, no, I don't participate in that market, but let me know how it goes.
Exactly. I feel like this is gonna get stopped. I really don't want to hold this into the algo, but
into the algo, yeah, I feel you. I'm glad that the selling really started around 2:30 though. I mean, 2:33, depending on the market, as opposed to in the last 30 minutes. If it just started in the last 30 minutes, I mean, it's picked up in the last 30 minutes, but really that first sell bar was right before 3 o'clock in the NQ.
Mm-hmm. What are shitcoins? Do they have any actual value? Well, it depends on what circle of Twitter you interact in. If you find your way into crypto Twitter, there are a lot of people who will die on that hill that they are in fact a hedge against inflation and gold and other things. So, Godspeed to those people and their Pepe coin, but I don't know if I believe that.
If Elon backs it, it probably goes up. It was Doge. It's all just one big psyop.
All right, I got it. 2 minutes. Let's see what happens. If I can get some cushion before the algo. If not, I may just scratch this.
I'm going to move my target down to 65 area. One pop.
Meme coins created a generation of people that can't take the world seriously anymore. Yeah, I'm definitely, I feel like in that camp where sometimes you see this and it's like the meme from Succession where he's like, you are not serious people, because that's really what it is.
I think there's a lot of things that put many generations in that category.
Oh yeah.
Just putting, yeah, it's like your average person that goes to college, $100,000 in debt, like, gets a nursing degree, helping society, making $70,000 a year, and then you just got Irwin hanging out, making 300 grand off of a picture of a monkey.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, what? Where did I go wrong? You just bought a picture of a monkey. And
Attention traders, it's algo time.
Right
All
on
right.
cue.
I held that into the algo and actually worked out for once. But I'm just going to take my $400 and walk away. It can do whatever it wants to do now.
Nice patience, Nick. I tell you what,
halfway back on my red day. I was down about $1,000, so we'll call it 500 now and just say we're good. $900 million to the buy side.
well, that's what I want to hear. TikTok, 9 minutes.
PM session is so abysmal. I mean, there were moments today we just had to sit through about an hour of chop first in a 20-point range in NQ. Kind of my fault. But then you got a nice 100-point move down, so what happened? My music stopped. Yes, Sean, moments. One of the many reasons why I prefer to trade the first 2 hours of RTH instead of trying to trade all day, because there's so many moments like this. You have MOC at 3.1 million. I mean, I have no idea what it is. I was just quoting what somebody told me in the chat, which, I mean, that's my own fault. You can't really trust what you jokesters are telling us in the chat sometimes.
Sure, it changes every second. Who really knows? I mean, where does that number even come from?
That's a question.
Yeah, like where I mean, what's your data source? Like, I know I've heard it.
The MOC does update and get it, adjusts for the S&P, and then we have the Nasdaq's one here in 3 minutes. Yes, I do not trust the chat. Most of you try to fade me half the time. Not most of you, probably a small amount of you try to fade me. I feel like everybody else is very respectful and kind and nice and fun and has a great time with us every day. Opening a trust fund called chat. Maybe we just open a new meme coin called YouTube chat.
Ninja coin. Yeah, what you got to do is anything viral, you got to create a meme coin, and then you got to somehow make that meme coin go viral. So I'm trying to think what the last viral moment was, like a good viral moment, not like a bad viral moment, like a funny thing.
That's a good question.
I can't think of one right now.
I don't know. It was a quiet end of the year.
Yeah, it was. Like maybe like a Maduro coin. Get him in the handcuffs, with the Nike tracksuit. I feel like that'd blow up. Maduro in a Nike tracksuit. I think that's going to the moon. Somebody knows how to make them.
Yeah, can't speak. Business duck coin. There you go. There's business duck. I was wondering where he was. Cooper, no, we can't do that one because that's going to make a whole city of people very upset.
There's Super Bowl coin. We'll see about it.
Especially if they lose this weekend.
Yeah. No,
when do the Bears and Packers play? Is it Sunday or it's Saturday?
Saturday.
It's the late game. So the Bears will be playing the Packers at home Saturday night, 8:00 Eastern on Prime Video. I don't know why I just plugged that for some reason.
Yeah, that's basically the Super Bowl for the Bears. If the Bears win against the Packers at home in the playoffs, it is equivalent to Chicago winning the Super Bowl for the city of Chicago. So the rest of the games won't matter. Just maximizing profits. That's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Maximize. I can't get no satisfaction.
This football on 87 channels thing is ridiculous. I mean, they have the most absurd rights, or I guess broadcast rights in all of sports and entertainment. So, shocker, everybody wants a cut.
Yeah, they just sell off little pieces and they just get a higher bid for everything then.
Oh, it's like once the tech companies started bidding, it just the valuations just probably got absurd for the average, a single game a week.
Wait, is football on Netflix yet?
Yeah. The Netflix had the and Netflix does not have a playoff game. I did learn that, but they had the Christmas Day games.
Hmm.
And they did last year too, I believe. And Netflix might have had one of the kickoff games, I feel like, to start the year. Maybe I'm crazy.
I don't watch anything but the Bears, but.
Well, Josh, we'll see how if that actually ends up going through. It seems like a lot of people in the different branches of government have a problem with that one.
I want them to start streaming military operations. Just like you to watch the capture.
Young Bleezy, yeah, you're right. YouTube had that first game. You are correct. But that was weird too. They had a bunch of streamers on it, YouTubers on it. I wasn't invited down to Brazil for it, so everybody can riot about that next season.
Three minutes.
James, I'd love the opportunity if somebody were to make me said offer. But yeah, unfortunately, we keep the lights on with other things. My broadcasting days have gone as far as NinjaTrader.
I think you're a pretty good broadcaster. For sports, I'm not sure.
I don't know about sports. I don't know if I could do sports.
All right, we got about a minute and 30 seconds for the final bell, ladies and gentlemen. And then, wait, you said you're on tomorrow morning with me?
Yes, sir. Trading the open tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I mean, with this nice close here, I think it'll be pretty volatile open.
Classic unchanged close potentially here in NQ.
Which is great. I mean, all the things that happened during the day, and then we just go lunch.
I mean, it would not,
Lunch.
nothing like that ever shocks me anymore with this market. But we got a minute. Let's see if we close above yesterday's close here at that 820 spot.
Give me 50.
Later, Frank. Nick could do play-by-play on a barbecue pitmaster cook-off. I think I could bring value to the Food Network and shows. That'd be fun. I'm a fan of Jesse Palmer does the Holiday Baking Championship, and that's a watch that my wife and I do every year.
That's funny. All right. A little bit of a pump. Thank you guys for bidding. Here's that $900 billion, trillion-dollar market in close. And it does nothing, and it fades back down.
Yeah, just basically unchanged. We can just call it that. So, well, everybody, I hope everybody's had a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Thank you all for hanging out with us all day here on NinjaTrader Live. We will be back bright and early tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, to get you guys prepped and ready to go in your pre-market analysis, talk about what the overnight did, and give you guys an outlook for the day. And that will be followed up by Jack and I trading the open. Jack, you are with me, right? I'm not making that up.
I am. Love the mornings. Give us some action, baby.
So that'll be fun. Hopefully a better tape than we saw this afternoon for you guys to hang out with us early tomorrow morning. So before we get out of here, Jack, this was fun. I'll see you early tomorrow morning. And to quote our fearless broadcast leader, Jim, everybody be safe out there and be good to each other. Cheers.
Cheers.